I used to think being the dependable sibling was a compliment. You know, the one who's always there. The one who picks you up at midnight when your date ghosts you. The one who proofreads your resume, then also prints 20 copies and puts them in a labeled folder because you forgot again. That was me. And my younger brother Josh? He was the golden retriever in human form, charming, clumsy, wildly optimistic, and somehow always landing on his feet while I watched from the sidelines, wondering how the hell gravity kept skipping him. Growing up, I didn't mind. Josh had this shucks energy that made you want to help him, even as he breezed through life with half the effort and twice the applause. So when he got into law school, no one was prouder than me. Our parents were scraping by, and Josh didn't qualify for enough federal aid. That's where I stepped in. I'll co-sign, I said, waving off their concern like I hadn't just signed away my credit score's entire sense of peace. Josh will crush it. He's the future Clarence Darrow. Josh beamed, said something about fighting for justice, and promptly celebrated by ordering $19 avocado toast. For the first year, everything was fine. He moved across the country, enrolled in a private law school where the tuition cost more than my yearly salary, and called every Sunday with updates. Property law is wild, bro. Or, I found the best pizza in Chicago. I kept paying my half of the family phone bill and forwarding the student loan emails like a financial ghost haunting his inbox. Then came Madison. She was stunning, well-connected, and the daughter of a legal dynasty. Think wine cellars, weekend homes, and holidays where people wore matching pajamas unironically. I met her once, virtually over Zoom, during a call with Josh. She looked straight through me like I was a smudge on her webcam lens. She's amazing, Josh said afterward, practically floating. Her dad's a partner at Brentwell and Klein. Her mom runs a nonprofit for equestrian scholarships. They invited me to Thanksgiving in Nantucket. That's bougie, I said, laughing. They're big on presentation, he added, fidgeting. Like, image really matters to them. That was the first red flag. It didn't wave, it politely curtsied and disappeared behind a curtain of champagne. After that, things changed. Josh's calls got shorter, then less frequent. Eventually, they stopped altogether. I figured he was just busy, law school and all that. But when I texted him about Christmas plans, he replied 4 hours later with, "Hey! Can't make it home this year. Madison's fam doing Aspen. Hope that's okay, Red Heart." I didn't respond. Not because I was mad. I just didn't have the words for the weird gut punch that came with realizing I was slowly being edited out. I brushed it off. Families evolve. Relationships shift. Maybe he'd circle back. I was still the dependable sibling. I didn't need constant thanks. I just needed to believe that if the roles were reversed, he'd do the same for me. Spoiler alert, he wouldn't. The proof came 6 months later, when I saw a post on Madison's Instagram. It was a carousel of perfectly lit photos, golden hour at some vineyard. Josh in a blazer, holding a glass of Cabernet like he understood tannins. The caption read, "Grateful for this man and his self-made journey. No handouts. Just hustle. Love you forever." No handouts. I stared at it so long that my phone went into battery saver mode. I wasn't just forgotten. I was deleted. And somewhere deep in my chest, where all my patience and goodwill lived, a quiet little voice whispered, "Cool. Let's see how self-made he really is." It started with a tagged photo I wasn't even in. I was doom scrolling one Thursday night, the kind of night when you eat dinner out of a pan and your only plans involve aggressively not doing your laundry. And there it was, a group picture from Josh and Madison's engagement party. Everyone looked like they'd been dipped in generational wealth and spritzed with eucalyptus mist. Madison's parents stood center stage, clinking champagne glasses like minor royals. Josh, my formerly cargo shorts-wearing brother, was in a suit that probably cost more than my rent, looking like he just won a courtroom drama on Netflix. But what caught my eye wasn't the glitter or the catered smiles. It was the caption Madison wrote. "So grateful to celebrate with family this weekend. Ring love wins. #future Brentwell #only child energy." Only. child energy. I had to double back and read it again, just to be sure I wasn't experiencing hallucinations brought on by rage and instant ramen fumes. But no, there it was. My brother, the man I once rescued from a failed camping trip involving a raccoon and 5 cans of beans, was pretending I didn't exist. I zoomed into the photo like a digital detective. And there, just behind Madison's dad's elbow, was our mom. Cropped, blurry, but present. And yet, I wasn't. Not in the captions, not in the tags, not even in the comments where someone said, "So proud of your journey, Josh. Your family must be over the moon." He replied with a heart emoji. No mention of me. Which is wild, considering I was literally still co-signed on his education. I was more financially tethered to him than Madison was. The government recognized me more than he did at that point. The more I looked, the worse it got. A post from Madison's graduation party. Josh has always worked so hard to create a life on his own terms. A tweet from Josh. Nobody helped me, and that's what makes this one so personal. Bro. I Venmo'd you for textbooks. There was even a Christmas photo where I could swear my elbow made it into frame. Like I was some tragic ghost limb haunting their luxury life. I half expected a comment that said, "Whose elbow is that?" Followed by Madison replying, "No clue. Must be a waiter." It didn't hurt all at once. It was a slow, sharp kind of hurt. The kind that sinks in after years of being the backup plan, the emergency contact, the emotional crash pad. And now? I wasn't even a footnote. But I wasn't mad. Not yet. That came later. Right now, I was curious. Because a few days after the engagement post, I got an email. From the student loan servicer. One of those boring auto-generated reminders that said, "Borrower has reached 12 months of on-time payments. Cosigner may now be eligible for release. Click here to apply." Huh. Funny. He could have removed me. Taken my name off the loan, shown he could really stand on his own. As he liked to say in front of his in-laws. But he didn't. He hadn't applied. Hadn't mentioned it. Hadn't done anything. He was still clinging to my credit score like it was the rope bridge between him and bankruptcy. And yet somehow, I was the embarrassment. I stared at the email. Then back at that smug engagement post. Then at the part of the email that read, "To request removal, please contact a loan specialist or initiate online review." That's when something shifted. It wasn't rage. Not exactly. It was quieter than that. Like a long breath I didn't know I'd been holding for 3 years. Let's see how. Only child energy holds up. When the only reason you're in law school gets pulled. A few days after the only child energy post, I did something rare for me. I picked up the phone not to fix something, but to let someone feel uncomfortable. Josh answered on the 3rd ring, sounding breathless, like he'd either just finished jogging or had been running away from the truth for too long. "Hey. Bro, wow, been a minute," he said, layering his voice with so much fake cheer it could have been an AI voice model titled Emotionally Avoidant, Male, Late 20s. "Yeah," I replied, keeping it cool. "Just checking in. Wanted to make sure you remembered you had a brother." Silence. Not static. Not awkwardness. Just the kind of silence that fills a room when someone realizes the party's over, and the bouncer's me. "Come on." Josh chuckled nervously. "Don't be dramatic. It's just been super hectic. Madison's planning the wedding like it's the frickin' Oscars." "Right. But I didn't realize that came with rewriting your life. You forget to mention me, or did I not make the cut for the Josh is a completely self-made orphan with symmetrical eyebrows narrative?" Josh sighed like I was the one being difficult. "It's not like that, man. Her family's just image-focused. You wouldn't get it." "Oh no, I get it," I said. "They're the kind of people who judge you by your LinkedIn bio font. Makes total sense that you'd want to Photoshop your real life into something a little glossier. They just value self-sufficiency," he said, all defensive now. I didn't want to complicate things. "You mean complicate things by telling them your perfect life is partially held up by your less perfect older brother's credit score?" The silence after that one had flavor. "They wouldn't understand," he mumbled. It's just easier this way. There it was. The honesty he didn't mean to say out loud. Don't worry, I'm not offended, I said, letting sarcasm lather every word. Just fascinating to learn I'm the family secret that doesn't match the aesthetic. Josh shifted tones, soft, pleading. Look, I promise this is temporary. Once the bar's done and we're married, I'll loop you back in. Loop me back in? Was I a trial subscription? You looped me out, I said calmly now. You wrote a version of your life that didn't include me, and you forgot I still hold the receipt. He tried to backpedal. I just meant I had to adjust the narrative. The narrative? I asked. This isn't a press release, Josh. It's my actual life. That I funded. With real money. That real banks want back. He sighed again, this one deeper, the sigh of someone realizing the PR script isn't working anymore. I ended the call before I could say something explosive. Not because I didn't have something locked and loaded, but because I had a better plan. I sat on it for 2 days. Didn't rant. Didn't post. Didn't call our parents, who would have probably responded with, well, at least he's happy, right? I let it sit. Simmer. Soak. And then, perfectly on cue, the universe slid a little email into my inbox like a private joke. Loan cosigner release. Borrower has reached the 12-month on-time payment mark. You may now initiate a review to be removed. Funny how someone can build a fantasy empire but forget their entire castle sits on your land. I opened the portal. Stared at the button for a while. And then I clicked it. Review request submitted. 10 business days until the system flagged his account and asked for updated income proof, credit history, and ability to refinance. 10 days before someone would finally say to Josh, hey, you can't afford this alone. And when the loan office called to verify? They asked, would you like us to notify the borrower? I smiled. Oh no, I said. Let him find out like I did. Publicly. Awkwardly. With a little garnish of humility. And just like that, I stopped holding him up. I didn't burn anything down. I just stepped aside and let gravity do the rest. If you've never watched someone's fake empire start to crack in real time, I highly recommend it. It's like live theater, but with fewer intermissions and way more espresso-fueled panic. Josh posted a new photo 2 days after I called the loan company. It was him and Madison at a rooftop brunch, mid-toast, with the caption, manifesting stability and blessings this week, sparkles, folded hands, briefcase, #grind mode, #good vibes only. I stared at that caption while sipping a mug of instant coffee and wearing a shirt with mustard stains I hadn't even tried to treat. Grind mode. Sure, Josh. The only thing grinding was the interest on your student loan. Then, like an angel in the form of a push notification, I got the update from the loan company. Cosigner release review has been denied. Borrower does not meet creditworthiness threshold. Monthly income and debt ratio insufficient. Translation: Josh was trying to live a Netflix original life with a blockbuster budget and a YouTube AdSense paycheck. But the best part: the review triggered a formal reevaluation of the loan structure. And that meant Josh got a notice, too. One that politely said, hey there! You need to either qualify solo or refinance. You've got 10 business days. TikTok. I didn't say a word. No. Told you so. No emoji-laden messages, no petty clapbacks. Just silence. Because I didn't need to ruin Josh's life. I just needed to stop holding it up. And oh, he noticed. I got a voicemail first. Hey, weird thing. Got some update from the loan people? No biggie, just probably a system thing. If you could call me when you have a sec? I didn't. Then I got a text. Josh. Can we talk? Like soon? Josh. Not mad or anything. Just confused LOL. LOL indeed. But what really made me laugh wasn't the messages. It was imagining Josh trying to explain all this to Madison and her family, the ones who thought he was self-made, debt-free, and already halfway to being named partner at a firm he hadn't even interviewed at yet. Because that's what this whole relationship was built on, a carefully curated lie. Josh had convinced them he was the boy genius with grit and hustle. The guy who got into law school on scholarships and charisma alone. The one with no family, baggage, and certainly no brother who paid for textbooks and co-signed anything. But now he was staring down a deadline, a denied review, and a monthly payment bigger than his rent. Madison's dad, rumor had it, was very into financial literacy. The kind of man who said things like, "Debt is a character flaw," and made people sign prenups to attend his pool parties. So I imagine Josh had a very interesting brunch conversation that weekend. I pictured him faking a smile over Eggs Benedict while his stomach tied itself in knots. And I'll admit, that image brought me peace. Real, restorative, soul-healing peace. For years, I'd played the role of the silent helper. The guy in the wings making sure the spotlight stayed on Josh. But that's the thing about shadows, eventually they shift. And in that moment, I realized something powerful. I didn't need revenge. All I had to do was nothing. Let gravity do what it does best. I don't know exactly when Josh opened the email from the loan company, but I know it was sometime between brunch and ego collapse. Because right around 3:30 p.m. on a Sunday, I got a text from him that simply said, "Hey, we need to talk. It's important." Which, in Josh speak, is code for, "The lies are catching up and I need you to make it all go away before Madison's dad realizes I'm not actually a Rockefeller." I didn't respond. Instead, I pictured the scene, Josh sitting on a white leather couch in Madison's apartment, pretending to listen to her talk about floral centerpieces, while his phone screen glows with a subject line like, "Cosigner removal denied, immediate action required." From what I gathered later, he tried to play it cool. Said it was a clerical glitch, when Madison asked why he was suddenly pacing like a caffeinated intern. But she's no fool. Her dad runs a law firm. She probably smelled legal drama through the Wi-Fi. Later that evening, I heard from our cousin Jen. Apparently, at dinner with Madison's family, Josh got grilled like a Costco sample. Her dad asked how he paid for school, Jen said. And Josh froze. Like full deer in headlights. Then he mumbled something about private scholarships and strategic financial planning, and Madison's mom just blinked at him like he said he invested in crypto and prayer. I laughed harder than I had in weeks. Because here's the thing, Josh was great at surface-level charm. Smiling. Toasting. Delivering just enough confidence to bluff his way through most conversations. But the second someone asked for a receipt, he folded like an online mattress. That Monday, he called again. Voicemail number 2 was less chill. "Okay, I don't know what you did, but the loan company's asking for all this stuff and now Madison's dad is involved and this is not the time to pull something like this. Can you please just reverse whatever?" I stopped listening halfway through. Not because I wasn't curious, I just didn't need to hear the part where he made this about me being dramatic. Then came the third voicemail. The desperation was starting to leak through. "Look, I didn't mean to cut you out, okay? Things just spiraled. I never thought it'd get this far. Can we just talk?" "No, Josh. We cannot. Just talk. Because this wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a harmless little image tweak. You spent the last year selling a version of yourself that I paid for. You faked a clean-cut origin story while I ate instant noodles and kept your credit score from going into cardiac arrest. You called yourself self-made, and left my name in the drafts folder. And now? Now the spotlight you loved so much was turning into an interrogation lamp. The engagement party was supposed to be next weekend. A vineyard event. Full bar. Designer linens. People flying in from 3 states. And oh, did the cracks show. First came the florist cancellation. Then the catering change. Then the venue suddenly getting rescheduled for renovations. Madison's friends started posting vague, cryptic stories with captions like, "When the mask slips? Eyes. Money can't buy character. Red flags always bleed through white tuxes." The group chat I'd long been excluded from? Silently exploding from within. By Thursday, Jen messaged me again. "They postponed the wedding," she said. "Indefinitely. Madison's dad pulled his support. Something about integrity issues." Josh is spiraling. Good. Let him spiral. Because I'd spent years being the reliable one. The behind-the-scenes fixer. The guy who showed up without being asked, and disappeared without thanks. But this time? I let the truth do the talking. No revenge post. No screenshots. Just one subtle shift in the financial ecosystem, and Josh's entire house of cards collapsed in front of the very people he tried to impress the most. And I was just sitting back, sipping my $3 coffee, watching the facade fall. Josh didn't text me for 3 days after the wedding got postponed. Which was almost impressive, considering this is the same man who once panic called me because he forgot how to make rice and didn't trust the bag instructions. But on the 4th day, my phone lit up like he just remembered I existed. Josh, please call me. Josh, this isn't just about the loan. Josh, I'm losing everything. I need to explain. Josh, you're my brother. Now I was his brother. It's funny how titles like that only seem to come out when someone needs saving. I didn't respond. Not out of cruelty. I just knew that if I opened that door even a crack, he'd kick it wide open with a sob story, a weak apology, and a fresh request. He called next. The voicemail sounded like someone auditioning for sympathy. Hey, I know you're mad. And you have every right to be. But please don't let this be permanent. You're the only person who's ever really had my back. I know I screwed up, but I need you now more than ever. Right. Because when things were good, when he was clinking champagne glasses with Madison's dad and telling LinkedIn he was 100% self-made, I didn't exist. But now that his loan got flagged and his future was unraveling like a poorly knotted tie, suddenly I was the emergency contact again. I sent one message. Me. You wanted a life without a brother. Now you have it. The read receipt popped up almost instantly. No reply. Then came the indirect attacks, the classic. I'm not losing, I'm just misunderstood campaign. One of Madison's friends DM'd me on Instagram. Josh says you hacked his loan account? That can't be true, right? I didn't even blink. I just replied with a screenshot of the loan company email titled, Notice of Co-Signer Review Request, initiated by co-signer. And then, tell him he can lie better. This one's lazy. Left on read. Naturally. But the real fallout started with the internship. Josh had been boasting for weeks about landing a summer spot at Brentwell and Klein, a huge deal. The kind of place where suits are custom and cappuccinos come with handwritten affirmations. Turns out, lying to your fiancé's dad, a senior partner at the firm, about how you paid for law school doesn't exactly scream integrity. The internship vanished overnight. Word spread fast. Not in some viral tweet, but through whispers, group chats, classmates, LinkedIn movements. The kind of collapse that doesn't make headlines, but lives forever in Google searches. The calls doubled. The texts tripled. Josh, they let me go. Josh, I don't know what to do. Josh, please just talk to me. The old me might have responded. The version of me that thought love meant always picking up, always showing up, even when it hurt. But that version of me had been downsized. Laid off due to budget cuts and years of emotional bankruptcy. Instead, I sent one final message. Me. You didn't just cut me out. You cut out every beam holding your story up. I didn't tear it down. I just stopped holding it steady. No response. And this time, I didn't check my phone every 5 minutes hoping he'd say something that sounded like growth. Like an apology. Like he finally saw me. Because I finally understood something I'd missed for years. Peace isn't when people apologize. It's when you don't need them to. It happened on a Tuesday. I was walking out of my apartment building, coffee in one hand, grocery bag in the other, brain half focused on whether I had enough eggs to survive the week, when I saw him. Josh. Standing by my car like a debt collector, dressed in the same wrinkled blazer from his engagement photos, but now with the energy of someone who'd been running on instant ramen and bad decisions. I stopped mid-step. He looked up like a dog who knows it chewed the couch cushions. Hey, he said. I blinked. Wow. So the ghost speaks. I didn't know where else to go, he said, voice cracking like he thought vulnerability would give him a discount. Pretty bold showing up here, I said, unlocking my car and tossing the groceries inside. Wasn't sure if I needed to get your permission to exist again. Josh ran a hand through his hair, thinner now, or maybe just less confident. I get it. I do. I messed up. I said nothing. Just leaned against the car door. I thought I had it handled, he continued. Madison's family, they expect a certain image. A clean story. No strings, no liabilities. I didn't want to bring you into that. You didn't bring me in, I said. You cut me out. He looked down at his shoes like they'd written him a bad Yelp review. I thought I could pay the loan off before anyone noticed. I thought. You thought wrong, I snapped. You thought erasing me was easier than explaining me. And the worst part? I was okay being invisible, as long as you were honest. But you couldn't even do that. I panicked. No, I said. You planned. You curated. You told a lie so many times you started believing it. And you kept using my name on your paperwork while pretending I didn't exist in your life. Josh's jaw clenched. I didn't think it'd blow up like this. I laughed, short, sharp. You didn't think it'd blow up because you were never the one holding the bomb. I was. I just finally let go. He looked exhausted. The kind of tired that sleep couldn't fix. The kind that comes from watching the fantasy version of your life crumble, while the real one sits there, arms crossed, unimpressed. I lost everything, he muttered. The internship. Madison. The wedding's off. Her dad said I humiliated the family. I shrugged. Then congrats. You're finally one of us. He flinched. You want me to feel sorry for you? I asked. Because this isn't karma. This is a calculator. The numbers finally added up. Josh went quiet again. And I could tell, for the first time, he understood. Not just that he messed up, but that there was no quick fix. No charm patch. No. Bro, come on. That could sweep this under a rug that's already on fire. I didn't come here to beg, he finally said. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Really. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I tilted my head. Good. Because you're not getting it today. He swallowed hard. I figured. I reached into my car and pulled out a small envelope. I'd kept it for months, a copy of the final loan agreement, showing every payment, every document I signed, every moment I backed him up. I handed it to him. What's this? He asked, confused. Proof, I said. Of everything you owed. And everything you forgot. He took it slowly, like it might explode. I got in my car, rolled the window down, and said the last thing I needed to say. You can fix your life. Or fake it again. That's your choice. But I'm not your safety net anymore. Then I drove off. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like the side character in someone else's highlight reel. I felt like the author. Josh didn't reach out again after that day. No follow-up texts. No dramatic emails. No teary late-night voicemails trying to rewrite history with sentimental piano music playing in the background. Just silence. And it was glorious. A few weeks later, our mom called out of nowhere. Her voice was chipper, too chipper. Like she was rehearsing for a toothpaste commercial no one asked her to be in. So, she said, dragging the word out like a gossip show host. Josh mentioned you two finally talked? I let the silence sit for a beat. Then I said, he mentioned it? She gave a light laugh. Well, he's been going through a lot. The breakup. Losing the internship. He's hurting. Yeah, I said. Actions have consequences. Who knew? She sighed. Do you think you'll ever forgive him? I already did, I said, leaning back into my chair. Just not in the way you mean. Forgiveness doesn't always look like hugs and group photos. Sometimes it looks like taking your name off someone's paperwork and getting your credit score back. Josh wasn't the only one who got a wake-up call. I did too. I stopped waiting for apologies to feel better. I stopped hoping people would magically become who I needed them to be, And more importantly, I stopped being everyone's safety net just because I could be. About 6 months later, I paid off the loan. Fully. Quietly. No announcement. No gold plaque. No sappy LinkedIn post about resilience or boundaries. Just a closed account and a deep, satisfying sigh when the final receipt hit my inbox. The next day, Josh got the system-generated notification that his co-signer was gone, and the account was officially marked as paid in full, closed by borrower. I imagine he sat with that for a while. Then I went and did something for me. I bought my first home. Nothing flashy. A modest 2-bedroom on the edge of town. Paid in full, no co-signers, no drama. I invited a few friends over for a low-key housewarming, the kind of people who had never once cropped me out of a photo, or a life. We sat on folding chairs. Ate off mismatched plates. Played music through a Bluetooth speaker with a dying battery. And it was perfect. The next morning, I posted a photo on my private social. Me on the porch, coffee in hand, sun just rising behind me. Caption? No filters. Just peace. I didn't tag anyone. And I didn't care who saw it.